This video is sponsored by Surfshark.
Hey everyone, I'm going to try to keep this introduction as brief as I can. This video is a reaction/discussion about the entire story of Ben 10 Illustrated, a video I made to be the last video I would appear as a host on this channel. However, the expansive positive reaction to this project has left me feeling unquantifiably appreciative. So I at least had to come back to this channel one final time, if anything just to officially and formally say, thank you. This project was in development for 7 months and gave us the opportunity to reach over 250,000 subscribers, gain over 9,000 members in our Discord server, and was collectively viewed over 4 million times across the December release. The success of the project gave us the resources and confidence to finalize the Ink Tank as an LLC, so now we can sell our souls to the entertainment industry more officially. I'd planned to make this video a little over a month ago just to celebrate the fact that I was done making it, but lining up with everyone's schedule was tough. But now that we've waited, I have the opportunity to reiterate my appreciation for all of the support you have given us to create this content, and an extra thank you that you actually enjoy it as much as we do. But this project wouldn't be as complete without the reactions of my good friends and fellow YouTube collaborators PieGuyRules and Shadowstreak. We've all worked together many times over on PieGuy's channel where we compare and contrast similar tropes, themes, and topics in his own series, The Recast. I always have a fun time participating in great discussions on that series, so if you end up liking our chemistry in this video, there's plenty more to watch. The final episode has just been uploaded, so now it's perfectly bingeable whenever you're looking for some comedic and constructive commentary. And now, for one final time, I'm Kuro the Artist, and without further ado, here is PieGuyRules.
Hey guys, PieGuyRules here. I make cartoon-related videos and podcasts and live streams and stuff like that. I've featured Kuro and Shadow on the channel quite a bit, and yeah, happy to be here.
And I am Shadowstreak, and I also make cartoon-related videos. My primary series on my channel, I review every single episode of the Powerpuff Girls 2016 reboot because I enjoy making myself suffer. And I also do other cartoon-related videos on the side, and I've got a few interesting projects coming up for 2020 that I can't wait to put out.
So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to ask you both a few questions, stuff like how much of the Ben 10 series are you familiar with, and what do you think you may expect from watching this? Then we'll watch the video and I'll clip in some highlights of the reactions, and we'll close out by some follow-up questions and a bit of discussion. Let's get started. So how much of Ben 10 have you seen, or how familiar with the show are you?
Okay, so I'm pretty extensively familiar with the original Ben 10. Watched it as a kid, watched it as an adult, seen it pretty recently. Ben 10 Alien Force was something that I rewatched, I think, about a year ago. So I've seen every episode once, but not necessarily a bunch of times, so I'm passively familiar with that. And then Ultimate Alien and Omniverse, I've seen like a few random episodes, and that's about it.
As for me, I have seen the original series a decent amount. I wouldn't say I've seen every episode, so I don't know like everything about the original, but I've seen enough of it to have a general idea of the show. And then I never watched anything else until the reboot, which I've seen a few episodes of, but I never saw Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, or Omniverse.
Alright, generally, what do you think you're in for?
Just probably a lot of paradox and a lot of time travel shenanigans. Yeah, that's mostly what I'm excited for. Just a lot of random bits of lore that I'm sure wound itself in weird ways into Ben 10.
I have no idea what I'm in for, but I'm at least hopeful that this isn't going to be as complicated as watching something like general overview of like the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So
no.
Hopefully it's nowhere near as complicated
Kingdom
as
Hearts
that.
doesn't make sense in any sort of chronology. At least Ben 10 makes sense in one direction.
Yes, so I don't think it'll be that complex, but I definitely know that I'm in for a ride.
Alright, so obviously there's going to be flashbacks in the show and then villain origin series and how things came to be, so we're going to be seeing things before the official first episode of Ben 10. How much chronological story before the classic series do you think there is?
Oh, a decent amount. I mean, I'm sure some of the alien species are like really old. Like, I don't know how old Vilgax is. I don't know if there's ever an origin story for Vilgax, but I know that Grandpa has a pretty long and extensive history with the Plumbers. No idea how much of that's like revealed in the show. I don't know. I'm gonna say it starts 1,000 years in the past.
I honestly have no idea, so I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark, and I'm gonna say it starts at the beginning of time. And it's somehow there was, ever since the very beginning of the universe, something happened that created the Omnitrix or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm just going with that.
Can I change my answer?
Sure.
I'm gonna say it starts at the year 10.
Oh my god. Okay, I can't argue with that.
What do you think will be the last thing you'll see?
The reboot? No. Oh man. Well, I know there are literally future episodes with Old Ben. Old Ben is a character. I don't know if we ever see, like, geriatric Ben 10, but yeah, no, I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that there's some really far off point in the future where Ben's just, like, ridiculously old and still has the Omnitrix. That's my guess, a few hundred years in the future.
I'm gonna guess Ben has grandchildren, and it goes up to his grandchildren. Just a random guess.
Alright, so this whole thing was drawn by me, and everything from backgrounds, characters, objects, little sparkle effects when something blows up or someone shoots a laser. How many drawings do you think I did for this video?
Oh my god. Well, first of all, like, that's already impressive. I haven't even seen it, and I think it's impressive. I don't know, 300?
I'm gonna go with, well, it's 40 minutes, so I'll go with 400.
400, okay.
Wait, can I change my answer?
Sure.
10.
10.
Oh my.
I did at least 10. You got me there.
Alright.
Alright guys, let's get ready to play this video. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Surfshark encrypts all internet traffic sent to and from your devices, and ensures that your IP address remains hidden to make sure no one can see what you do online. In addition, they block ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts. And unlike other VPN services, you can use it on as many devices as you'd like simultaneously. Whenever I need information, I have to teleport all over the multiverse. But Surfshark allows you to access data, such as movies and TV shows from your favorite streaming services, even if you're not normally able to watch them in your terrain. Want to rewatch Ben 10 for the 17th time? Surfshark blocks targeted ads so you can get all that nostalgic feel without psychic alien squids watching you and documenting your information. With an easy-to-use interface, even an apoplexian could use it with ease. Use the link in the description below, along with our special promo code INKTANK for 83% off and 1 extra month free.
An unquantifiably long amount of time ago, there was a blank dimension without a universe in it. The fifth dimensional cosmic traveling being.
Wow, so it starts before it was created. Wow.
And using the power of all of his transformations, contains the Big Bang and defeats Maltruan, scattering his body into pieces across the universe.
That sounds like a season finale. I will always admire how ludicrous Ben 10 is.
In the 1770s, George Washington
That's pretty great.
in protecting the world from supernatural threats and rumors.
Oh, of course.
Maltruant gifts young Vilgax a Chronosapien time bomb.
Oh, I know that.
Intercepted by Ben and Rook time. They create a headquarters hidden behind the faces of Mount
Oh, because Washington created
That
it.
makes sense.
and tasked one of Max's old love interests, Xylene, to transport the Omnitrix to the greatest plumber on
Crap,
record.
but Max always getting freaky with aliens. I love your art of Vilgax. I like your
Yeah,
interpretation.
it's so good.
Max seals them both away in the Null Void, an alternate dimension made to inhabit the
Such a good episode.
One of the best.
Dude, I'd play a Ben 10 RPG with this art style.
I know, right?
It does kind of look like it's like a Final Fantasy type party.
It kind of reminds me of Paper Mario, if I'm being honest.
Prison and meets Quarrel, a wise inmate with knowledge on Osmosian.
What show does this happen in?
Kevin learned to control his rage, which was the trigger of his mutation. The more energy an Osmosian absorbs, the more insane they become. To combat this, Kevin learns to absorb matter instead.
Oh wow, they do finally get around to explaining it.
He wipes Kevin's mind of any memory of him, and does the same to the other rooters.
Just to make sure there's no continuity issues.
Redeeming his status as a banished criminal to a respected leader and warrior. With his
Oh, I love that.
He's so happy. I love how you did the characters' costume changes too. Oh god, we're still in 2011? It's a big year for the universe. Is that Ash and Jay? Or Hershey?
Yeah. Paradox takes young Ben back to his own timeline, allowing him to recall these events as a dream, so Ben can faintly remember a future where they were once.
That's why they're friends?
Oh my god.
That's why he trusted
That's
Oh my-
amazing.
Goes to Area 51 and teleports the entire base
Can't stop all of you.
onto the side of a mountain and uses it as a place to perform his operations. Meanwhile,
This just got really interesting.
the two slowly begin working out their differences, fighting crime in the underground city known as Undertown.
Undertown?
Eon and Vilgax have teamed up and have been time traveling together for years, putting together an army of evil Ben 10.
How many people do they team up with Vilgax?
The dangerous,
Isn't that dude like a Green Lantern villain?
but is unable to do so to Kevin, who he instead corrupts by taunting him about Ben ruining his childhood and imprisoning.
What? What?
And was faking insanity the entire time to get close to Cervantes to destroy his connection.
What?
This is getting so deep.
And are met by the three multiversal gods before them, who take the shape of your heart's desire so you can physically perceive their fifth dimensional form.
No, tell me that's not literal.
Yeah, that really happens. So first question, was this anything that you expected?
This was way more than I expected. Like, I was not prepared for all of the time travel shenanigans and like the time loops and the, oh man, I don't even think I understand everything. I need to watch that again.
I was definitely expecting it to be that level of confusing, but I'm very much impressed by the overall presentation of the video.
Oh, thank you. So how easy or hard was it to follow along?
Honestly, I think it was surprisingly easy considering what it is. Like, Ben 10 is very confusing in general. Like, a lot of things happen and a lot of MacGuffins pop up, but I feel like you did a really good job of omitting certain things and featuring other things. Like, there are times where you just, like, pull out some random MacGuffin and don't give an explanation of where, like, the backstory of it, but I think that's perfectly fine, because...
Yeah, there'd be way too much if I had to explain every single object.
Right.
So I was like, I'll explain like 20.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty decent time following most of it, and I could obviously tell that, you know, there were things that were flying over my head, and I didn't get everything, because it's definitely, not super complicated. Like, it's definitely not Kingdom Hearts, like I was hoping it wouldn't be, but there were definitely some things lost on me just because I'm alien to the series.
Oh.
I think it also helps that, Kerr, you've made me watch most of the very important episodes, like ones that involve future Bens and time travel and stuff like that. I swear at some point in my life I've seen at least Alien Force, but like that has like flown from my memory. So I am pretty kind of like ignorant about most of the Ben 10 franchise as a whole. I'd argue that Alien Force Season 1 and 2 are what quote-unquote ruined Ben 10. And by that I mean, those seasons are great. Honestly, I love them, but they aren't in line with the original show.
Yeah, so you had a little bit of an advantage sort of knowing there will be quite a bit of time travel.
I finally learned where that bomb came from.
Yeah, that happened literally in the very last episode of the whole franchise. It's like they went back in time, met George Washington, Maltruant's like, hey Vilgax, here's a bomb. So Shadow, what are some of the things you felt like were a bit difficult to follow?
So, well, for starters, I actually have a question. Is the crossover with Generator Rex canon?
Yes, but the only thing that gets referenced outside of the crossover is Ben gets a new alien in the crossover, but
Okay.
He shows up like in the series from that point forward. They never go like, oh hey, remember that time we went to Rex's world?
Okay.
But it's technically canon, yeah.
I would say some of the things that I guess might have been lost on me were, when it comes to time travel, a lot of media have their own rules on how it works. So Ben's future self can change based on his younger self meeting that older self and making his own decisions to be different.
Yes. So essentially every time he meets his future self, it's already going to be different.
Yeah,
kinda
that
just,
confuses me,
make it a
because
every time.
it's also implied that the exact same events happen in a continuous loop from like the beginning all the way up to 2012, and then it goes back and it does it. I'm trying to piece it all together. It's yeah.
Well, there's also, this is where it gets confusing. There's a difference between alternate dimensions and alternate timelines. Even so, if his future did change, he could still technically go back as an alternate timeline. And also similar things happen in the timeline always. Like the first and the third Ben 10,000 both have Kenny as a son.
Yeah, it also seems like it's basically...
Okay.
Alright, so now that you've seen the video, how many drawings do you think I've done?
Oh god, 1,000?
I'm gonna double my answer, 800.
I say 1,000.
You guys are both kind of close, because to be honest, I don't know. I know how many objects and characters I've done. The objects and characters combined is like 740 something. That's not including backgrounds or all of the little words. Like I had to write so many words.
George Washington.
That part was a little iffy for me, but the part that like really was like, wait a second, was when Ben met with all the alternate dimension Bens and completely lost on that.
So when the multiverse gets eradicated, it happens from that point in time forward. What he did was he went back in time to before it got destroyed, and he was essentially the reason all the good Bens gathered together in the first place. And then him doing that gives him the experience he needs to restore the multiverse.
Why is he the only one? Is it because he doesn't have a watch? Is that why?
Yeah, so... Well, it's not that he doesn't have a watch, it's that the Omnitrix doesn't even exist in his dimension. Like, nobody else got it, he didn't get it and lose it or anything, so his universe is the only one that doesn't even have the concept of an Omnitrix, and Vilgax wants to destroy every single dimension but that one, so that he can take it over.
I feel like it's only because you've said it so many times, Kuro, but the whole Ben, like, literally creates the universe thing. I feel like if I hadn't heard you say that about, like, 8 million times, I would probably list that as maybe the most ridiculous thing.
It's still hard to accept. And he did it twice, technically.
I'll also say, what was that with Kevin pretended to be insane to get close to this dude, and then, like, that storyline is beyond me.
Yeah, he says, like, I don't know, it kind of just happens. Like, he's like, oh, all of a sudden I can control my powers now, and I was just pretending to be insane this time, so we could juke him out, but I'm not gonna tell any of you guys, so...
Is Ben the one that gives him, like, a permanent scar?
Yeah, he scars him on his chin, and then he has that for the rest of the series. So the last question I have is, did this change any perspective or opinion you had on the series? And if so, how?
Nope, Ben 10's nuts. Always will be. My favorite part about the whole franchise is just how bizarre it is at times. And although I do kind of feel like hearing you retell some of this is probably more enjoyable than me having to watch some of this. You know, like you don't express the point home how obnoxious that blob of goo that is backstory in a timely manner. But yeah, no, this is about what I was expecting.
I did not know Ben 10 got this insane. I knew that it definitely got a lot heavier, and the plot got more complicated after the original. Perspective on the franchise, having only seen the original series, so I'm part of me is interested enough that I might be willing to give the rest of the series a shot someday, just because my interest is piqued, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to comprehend it all, even if I do watch the series.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. I really appreciate time as a YouTube host.
I'm going to be covering Season 3 of the Powerpuff Girls 2016 reboot coming up in a few more weeks, so look forward to that, I guess.
I'm going to plug the Ink Tank, actually. Subscribe to the Ink Tank if you aren't already. I don't know why you're watching this video if you're not subscribed, but a bunch of talented artists over there and really cool people. Bye, guy rules. Out.
And I don't have an outro, so bye.
Now, a lot of you guys already know this information, but I just like to make sure everyone is aware. It all comes down to the fact that I am just more interested in creating and producing content rather than being a public figure. I will continue to be a scriptwriter, artist, and editor, and of course continue to work on other projects as well. I will also continue to keep streaming weekly on our second channel, The Rust Bucket, where I draw commissions and answer questions. But that may one day come to an end as well. But for now, I hope you all continue to support what the Ink Tank will bring to the future. And remember, even if I'm not around to tell you, always keep it fizzy.